This is the most potent time in your entire life of energy coming onto Earth, changing the entire planet, the entire existence, our DNA, and our old ways are not going to support us anymore. And it's so important that we consciously choose to move and adjust with this new way of being so that the process is easier, because it's going to happen either way. These new forces, new energies will affect your life in very dramatic ways, and so we can surrender and we can shift with it, or we can perceive suffering. So one of the biggest things that keeps coming through is just this important time for conscious rest. And if you aren't the type of person to consciously rest, maybe you've noticed experiences and situations that have been manifesting that are causing you to rest and to find solitude and to be in this like incubation period. And so we've talked a little bit about that on this channel so far, but I want to go deeper into it because I use my own life experiences to kind of form what messages are trying to come through. And what's so interesting is just how many of you have said like, wow, the synchronicities, the divine timing, like this couldn't have been at a more relevant time. And that's always been the case for me too. When I consume other videos, like when I needed to learn something before, when I was going through my health journey, it was like the perfect video would come up. I would learn about one thing and then like 10 other things relevant that would like play off of that would come up. And even for the things now that I'm sharing online are like when they come through and then I record the video for the rest of the day, like I maybe listen to a podcast and somebody's talking about the same thing, and like it keeps going like that. So we're all one consciousness, right? We are from the one infinite consciousness, and we've come here to Earth to experience this human experience, but also to assist in the process of waking up. There was a study by Dolores Cannon, yes, and she performed her hypnosis stuff. I'm sorry, I'm not explaining this well because I haven't actually read her books yet, but I know the general understanding of what this finding was. And so through putting a bunch of people, hundreds, I think maybe thousands of people under hypnosis, they all gave a very similar message saying that they're here on Earth right now to assist in the change of the planet waking up and going into this new consciousness. And so I believe that if you're here with me right now, you probably are sharing that same soul's purpose and path as well. And maybe you're not from here, meaning maybe you identify with being here on Earth and it being pretty foreign. And when I was a kid, it was like I was just kind of like becoming human, you know, like developing my brain and stuff. And I was like, this place is weird. Like, humans are a little strange looking and all that, but I still love animals like Arlo, Mr. Sleepy Arlo, and nature. Like, that was my absolute obsession. And when I did this inner child workshop in Portugal a few days ago, I'm currently in Spain. It was like we were doing going around and sharing what we had been receiving in our meditations and everything, the exercises that we would do, and everyone was just so connected to nature and to animals. And so they are so pure. Like, that's why we go into nature and we receive these downloads. We receive this healing. People go do forest bathing, you ground, you like we are one with the earth. We are a child of the earth, right? We are made from the same material. And so it would make so much sense that like we would receive so much healing when we go out in nature. Yet, oh, hello, little pigeon. Yet You know, we're wearing rubber on the bottom of our feet, no longer connecting with earth. We're staying indoors, we're working on our computers, we're spending a third of our life on screens. Like, we're just seeing this far rather than how we used to see so far. And so like seeing really far is really good for your nervous system. And so if you just go outside, like you're having a stressful day at work and you go outside and you just look far into the world, it will reset you in so many ways. And that's just because we're designed to spend time outdoors. I listened to a comedian recently who was so funny. He was like, all my friends like keep encouraging me to like get a place and like bring plants inside, and like get a pet and bring it inside, and like all these things. And like, I'm not explaining it well, but like he was joking about how it's like, in order to make a home feel really good, you bring in all these elements of outside. And so we are probably pretty aware that like we need to be spending more time in the real nature, into the real world. But as a society, I agree, as a society, we have been so conditioned just to be unconscious, to become controllable. So the law of one, the raw material, fascinating stuff, absolutely fascinating stuff. Definitely check it out. It is dense. I am on the second one, and I just would, when I was, like I said, I do the audiobook for this one, I would restart it. Every time I wouldn't understand a concept, I would restart it. So it takes a while to get through. But one of the things is that there's service to self beings, and then there's service to others. And in order to be like harvestable for the next dimension, the next density, to continue your evolution into like going up and up and up in there's like octaves of dimensions and densities, and then you go to the next one. So in order to keep moving up and being harvestable for the next one, you have to be like over 50% of service to others. And so a lot of people beings are just service to self, and that's fine too, because that's important for the people, for all of humanity to experience itself. And so one person being in service to self, meeting someone that's in service to others, it will help both of them probably in ways in their evolution. So there has to be this contrast. So it's not like anything is good or bad, but just reading that, I was like, okay, wow, let me check in with myself. Like, in what ways am I in service to others? And making sure that like there is a balance, right? Not to say like you gotta go work in the soup kitchens and like dedicate all your time to picking up trash off the beach. Like that's all great. But the book Transurfing talks about how like if you're just doing that because you want to be good and you want to be, you know, maybe accepted for being good, you want to like fill the ego part of you that's like, I do good things, then that's not following your soul's path. And when you're following your soul's path and like you're doing the work that your soul came to earth to do, that's when you're helping the planet. That's when you're in service to others. Service to others doesn't just mean like, you know, making videos on consciousness. It doesn't mean like going out and like, you know, speaking the truth and your spirituality and like how to heal your body and like putting out that kind of information. It could just be like, not just, but it could be baking videos, like how to make sourdough. It could be like knitting and making beautiful art pieces. One of my really good friends who's coming to visit here soon, she's making these like incredible, if you're watching, hi, these incredible things where you like stitch and you make these really beautiful designs. I kind of made fun of her because it's like what older ladies do, but she's doing this and it's so beautiful. And so that's service to the planet, because you're bringing forward your creativity. Your creativity is part of your life force energy. We are creative beings. So when you're tapping into that, you're tapping into your life force. You're tapping into source energy. You're bringing source energy onto earth. It's huge. It's so, so important. And so the beginning of the video, it's like this time right now, you got to start moving with it. It's not gonna work to do it the old way, to like force and grind and do. That is part of it. You have to take action. The message that keeps coming through when I connect with my divine team of the highest truth is, there once was a time when nobody remembered, and there's never been a better time now than to act. Better time now to act. Something like that. Yeah. So I keep going in there and I'm like asking different questions, and they tell me this riddle. It used to be follow the yellow brick road and like that whole thing that I've talked about here. And then it made sense. And so I'm still making sense of this one. I'm like, why is this the riddle that you keep bringing through? But it really feels like, okay, like the new earth, the new energy, the new paradigm, it's happening right now. You feel it. You're seeing things like manifest much quicker. You're thinking of somebody, they're calling. You're thinking of something and then it happens, and whether good or bad, right? I remember the other day when I was driving and I was like looking at traffic on the other side of the road, and I had no reason to be in that because I was going the other way, and I was like, oh wow, that sucks. That would be like really shitty to be stuck in, blah 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 blah. And I just went unconscious, and I had that little feeling like, remember to say cancel, cancel, cancel. Remember to like be in control of your thoughts. And then somehow wrong turn and wrong turn and wrong turn. And then I was stuck in the traffic and like an hour late for my appointment. And so I was like, wow, okay, it's a powerful, powerful time right now. And so one of the most important things is rest. And I and my mom are not very good at that. My mom's super athlete, my dad's super athlete. He was in the Olympics, she won the Boston Marathon, like just to like give examples. And my sister and brother, they're super athletes too. And we all just like kind of have that in us to like do. And so resting is not like the first choice. And there's a difference. Like, we also have to understand what rest is. Rest is not sitting there on your phone and scrolling and taking in information, and rest is not that. Rest is like consciously being in your like embodiment. Like, rest might be creativity, rest might be like actually like painting and like doing something that's like really restful, that when you're done you feel charged up from. You need to get into a place of receiving. Abraham Hicks talks about this. So to get into the receiving mode, you have to be following the joy. To be following the joy, you have to be awake enough to see the joy. You can't see the joy if you're unconscious. You're unconscious when you're scrolling, when you're focusing on the bad, when you're interacting with people who only complain, when you're drinking alcohol, when you're smoking weed, when you're doing these things that like lower your vibration and put you in the unconscious, you're not so much tapped into that truth. And so it's really important, as much as we can, to get into that receiving mode right now, because a lot is trying to come through. Your soul is trying to come through. Your soul is just as important as your mind, just as important as your body. It's time to bring them into this divine union and to allow the mind to do what it's good at doing, consciously choosing, I should say. The mind has the free will. The mind gets to choose. It's a beautiful superpower. But if the mind is unconscious and is not in alignment with the soul, because there hasn't been time to rest and to follow the joy and to follow the creativity and to spend that time getting to know and experience what it's like to be in alignment with the soul, then the mind will be choosing from a place of unconscious. And then we are literally creating a life that is not ours. It's someone else's. It's picked up from everything around us, and then we believe that it's ours. But beliefs are not real. No beliefs are real. Beliefs are just what sets us apart from the truth. The truth, there are no words really to explain that. It's just the I am. And it's just this feeling. It's this feeling of joy, of curiosity. And so merging those, spending time in that, like you might do like a painting or like a beautiful little stitchy art. And then you're like, you come out of it And then you're inspired, you know, to go call a friend or to go like to this grocery store. And then you're in the grocery store and then you run into somebody who actually has an opportunity that is perfectly aligned with like meeting other like-minded people who also do the stitchy thing, or who, I keep using your example if you're watching, Dom. And so, but anyway, it's like, it's getting you into alignment. If you don't make that time, then you're going to get into not alignment. And the universe is going to try to support you. Your angels and guides will try to support you. Your soul can't really do anything to come through, but it can send you the messages from within, like, no, yes, no, yes. But then these experiences manifest where it's like, you gotta rest. My mom was in a hit and run accident, right? So she broke her back and she's healing from that right now. And so her message that keeps coming through is like, this is the time of rest and receiving upgrades to be compatible for the new energy, for this 5D energy, and just getting ready for the next thing. But also being in this time where it's so important to receive, meaning she wasn't able to walk. So like her friends all formed this circle where they would bring her food and like come check on her and spend time with her. And so that's all about receiving. And if you're a very self-sufficient, independent person, it can be very uncomfortable, like allowing people to do that for you. Yesterday, I'm here in my van that I just purchased here in Europe, and the van wouldn't start. I like was pulling out of a spot 2 days ago. I had just come to this spot to fill up water and like do all that like van chores. It's a wonderful free spot in this like really cute town here in northern Spain, and I had no intention of spending any time here. I was going to be here for like, you know, 10 minutes. And then I'm pulling out of my spot and I'm like, oh, let me stop the car and go lock the door in the back or whatever. And I try to start the car again and it doesn't start. And then I'm stuck here. And so there had been this man walking back and forth who I was like, why is he walking back and forth? And at first, like in my judgments, I was like, am I safe? Like blah, blah, blah. But he ended up being like my godsend. And so he came and tried to jump the car for me in the rain, and that didn't work. And so then he helped me push my van back into the spot, which I didn't know you could do, but my car is like automatic manual. And then the next day he's like, we're also translating and trying to figure out, because he speaks French, a little bit of Spanish. I speak a tiny bit of Spanish, no French, just English. And so in the morning he's like, I will call the mechanic at 9 a.m. And then at 9 a.m. He came and picked me up and took me to the mechanic. And at first I was like, you know, all my fears and everything, but I was like, oh, like, he's just helping. And then I was like, wow, like I'm putting him out, like he's driving me, like it's his morning, it's his vacation, like all this stuff. And I was like, just receive. People want to help you. Like people enjoy being there to help you. And so allow them to do that, especially when they're offering. And so I was like, okay, I allow this. And then later on that day, it's like I had to call a tow because the mechanic people came here. It wasn't the battery. I'm just using this as an example. And so they were like, you have to bring it into the shop and get a tow. And so I'm calling my insurance in France, and I don't speak French, right? And so I was like sitting in the car waiting for the English line to pick up, and they just like, I don't think anyone was working on the English line. And so I was like, I have to go ask for help. Like I have to ask to receive. And that's also uncomfortable when you're like such an independent person. And I was like, okay, this is my lesson, right? I'm obviously in this period of time, and the rest part also came in because I'm still sick. And so it was kind of a huge blessing to randomly break down in this perfect spot to spend the night for a few nights, so that I could rest and heal. And so it was like, that was part of the message, but then also being okay with receiving and being okay with asking for what I need from people who want to help. And so on a more broad, wider, higher dimension scale, ask for what you want. But also when you're asking, there's a certain way, there's so many things coming through in this video. When you're asking, it's not, please, Lord, let me get through this time, please, 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 because that's saying you don't have it. You also have to work with the laws of the universe, and you have to understand your free will. So you can say, thank you, angels and guides, thank you, Jesus, thank you, Lord, whatever, for allowing me to get through this time with ease and grace. Thank you for sending me everything I need, everybody I need in order to, get through this time, to achieve this goal, whatever it is, to get my van to start. I choose that, blah, 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 blah. And so taking ownership, taking Arlo, Bo Barlow, such a cute baby. Oh, yeah, using your free will in alignment with your soul. Your soul is in alignment with source energy. We are all part of source energy. We are all part of one consciousness, right? And so when you're in alignment with your soul, you're in alignment with the collective consciousness. When you are doing what your soul wants, you are doing your work here on earth. It may not look like doing the obvious things that are like good deeds, but if you're following your soul's path, then you are assisting the planet in the way that you are meant to be assisting the planet. So rest, receive, ask and you shall receive. Ask in the way that works with the laws of the universe. Use your free will, your mind, to choose what your soul wants. Listen to your body. Rest when you need to rest. And all will be well. And if you don't, then certain circumstances and situations might happen in order for you to experience those things. But also, last thing to come through on this, when you're in those situations, like it was just one thing after another yesterday where it's like I was trying to call the hotline to receive some help, and randomly my phone number here in Europe had no more minutes. I didn't even know, like I don't make phone calls on my number here because I use WhatsApp to call people back home. So I'm not really calling people here in Europe yet. And so I was like, how do I have no minutes? But I had no minutes, so I couldn't even call in an emergency. So it was like all these things. But even when it seems like there isn't a solution or a way out of the situation that you're in, there's always a solution. You would never be put in a situation that you can't get out of, that you can't get through. It was designed for you in some way. And as annoying as it can be, it all works out. Like yesterday, I was consciously choosing to just feel, to cry when I needed to cry, to receive when I needed to receive. Like the man who helped me, his wife came to knock on the door after I came in the car for a little bit, and I just started crying in here, and she knocked. I was like, oh, now she has to see me being vulnerable. And she gave me a big hug and a kiss on the cheek and was like, you can come stay with us if you need to stay with us tonight, because they have a big RV. And my car was going into the shop, and I was like, this is so challenging but so beautiful in all the ways. Like perfect location, perfect neighbors, like the bright mechanic, like everything that I need is here, even though I'm experiencing all this like discomfort. So just allow it to be what it's gonna be. Rest when you need to rest, and all the other things. I'm not gonna repeat them because this is getting long now. So now that my van starts, Arlo, Bobarlo, and I are going to go on a walk, and then we're going to hit the road and make our way to France. I was supposed to be there yesterday, but, divine timing said otherwise. And so, yeah, we'll get on the road. I'm excited to spend some time again in my energy, in my future vision of everything that I desire. And so we talked about that in one of the other videos the other day, embodying your future vision, but bringing it into the now with your eyes open to rewire your brain and to make space for the things that are trying to come through. So much to think about and ponder. So if anything in this video resonated with you and kind of sparked something, let me know in the comments. I love reading them. I try to respond to as many as I can, but I'm also just in such a period of like go, 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 go. And so I do read all of them though. So thank you for that support. Thank you so much for your donations. Those of you who have donated, it means the absolute world to me. Oh, and if you're still here, I meant to say this in the beginning, but I'll say this now. I am opening up some spots to work with me one-on-one, and I haven't done this in a long time, a few years. I used to be a health coach. I mean, I still am, I'm just not practicing one-on-one. And so these aren't necessarily health coaching appointments. These will be two different ones. So one will be overall guidance and spiritual guidance, health guidance, like life guidance, all in one session. So if you have certain things, Arlo, let's not be rude. Where are you? If you have certain things that you're working through in life and you've watched my videos and like there's something that you want to go deeper in, we can do that in a session. And then the other session is one that I'm so excited about, that I received a download and I have been receiving downloads about, like, do this. So it is a session where we will guide you, I will guide you to get to know your angels and guides, because a lot of you have been saying, like, how do I get to know my angels and guides? And I have made videos on it, and I've made different recordings on like guiding you through that. But sometimes it's easier to do it with somebody there. And so like one of my best friends and I had done this with her, and ever since then she's like, this is wild. But she sees all these visuals, her guides like keep trying to come through and meeting her, and she's meeting different ones and like putting faces to them. And so it opened up all these gifts for her, because she was able to consciously choose to open them up. And so with an assistance of another person, that can be a lot easier. And so the intention of this session is so that I can guide you in that, so that you can take that forward for the rest of your life, and you can lean into your angels and guides and ask for the support that you need in whatever you're going through. Like, I want this to be something to set you up for your whole future, so that, you know, maybe I want you here, but you won't need like outside sources for the answers that you're looking for. You can like tune inwards and always have that. You can tune inwards without that, but also it's a lot easier because they're there for you. Even the Law of One talks about how we all come to earth with a guardian angel in order to support us throughout our journey and our experience here on earth. So you're not alone, you're never alone. You always have your divine team with you, and I would love to support you in getting to know them. So if that is interesting to you, please go ahead and schedule with me. I will have that linked below, and I'm only going to open a few spots and like kind of see how this feels in my being and everything like that. And so it's going to be very limited. So if that's interesting to you, go ahead and do that, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye.